Hello everybody and welcome back. As always, I am Mateo311 and today we're going over everything right and wrong with Boneworks. Now right off the bat, I do have to make it very clear that Boneworks is an amazing game. It's one of the best VR titles to date, it's clearly one of the most innovative games, and a great representation of the future of VR. Now with that being said, there is still a lot to discuss, because everything that makes Boneworks right also makes it wrong. If you end up liking this content or find any of it useful, go ahead and leave me a thumbs up, and I would also love to hear your feedback down below. Okay, let's get into this. For the clueless few amongst us, Boneworks is a physics-heavy, first-person shooter, puzzle, and platforming game. What makes Boneworks unique is how you can interact with the environment. You can basically push, pull, maneuver every single object. Now this turns out to be a double-edged blade, which we will get to in detail. But let's go through everything wrong and right with this game, starting from the beginning. The excessively long tutorial is excessively long. Now, this is actually the best tutorial I've ever seen in a VR game. It lets you play around as you learn your mechanics. It does not hold your hand, and throughout this entire time, it's showing you VR wonder after VR wonder. There are some really trippy moments that you've never experienced in a VR game before. There's also a huge attention to detail and references to the development of VR throughout, so there is a lot to see and truly enjoy here. At the same time, and as cool as it is, what the holy crap, guys. A lot of users are already complaining about spending 45 minutes or longer in the tutorial of the game. Now, in a way, this is the first area that Boneworks contradicts itself. Now, the game makes itself very clear that it is intended for experienced VR players. Now, you can see this on both the Steam store page and the in-game disclaimer. So if you're that experienced, well, you really don't need a 30-minute tutorial. Now again, this necessary VR experience level is a double-edged blade. This type of open world, do whatever you want, free locomotion, full body experience is something that many experienced VR gamers have been begging for. And Boneworks, for the most part, nails it. But it's done at the expense of new VR players or those who have any type of motion sickness sensitivity. Boneworks has absolutely zero comfort option. There is no vignetting, you have to use free locomotion, there's no teleportation, and the amount of physics jank you will experience in this game will even test some of the experienced VR players. Now the physics collision system allows for some amazing feats. You can restrain an enemy with one hand and then deal the killing blow with your other. You can drop cinder blocks onto your enemies, you can do almost anything you can imagine with these physics. However, a lot of times they don't play nice, or they behave in a very strange manner. When you collide with an object in-game, you will be physically pushed back in the VR world, not a very soothing sensation, especially to people who are not used to this. And when your character is experiencing multiple collisions, this can be extremely jarring and frustrating because you're trying to reach for something that should be in range, however your body is being pushed away because some aspect of your physical form is making collision with an object you may not even see. Now this is clearly the worst with your arms, which will get stuck on objects constantly and clip through other objects. If you needed a reason why Alex from Half-Life Alyx does not have arms, it is this game. But physics can be fun! That's right, even though these physics can at times be so janky, they also lead to some amazing experiences you have never had in VR. When it comes to puzzles, on the other hand, they can sometimes feel a lot more like a chore, and physics puzzles are clearly the most frustrating aspect of this game. You know how in Skyrim when you try to bunny hop over a mountain? Well, in this game, that's a feature, not a bug. That's what climbing feels like in general in this game. Now the physics actually continue to shine in both the melee and ranged weapons. You can actually feel the physical weight difference between melee weapons, and the collision detection on enemies is absolutely amazing. It is an absolute blast to kill some of these zombie style enemies. It's not just another, oh, let me dispatch these bad guys. You're encouraged to try new things. Like when I found a sledgehammer, the first thing I wanted to do was kneecap somebody. The collision detection system also encourages you to make your own bullseyes. Now when it comes to ranged weapons, that physics jank shows its head once again. And I just had some continual frustrations with double-handing weapons, reloading. Now I also had a really weird issue with the buttstock of my rifle colliding with my physical character, forcing me to hold the weapon out much further than I would in real life. And in-game, this almost feels like a controller occlusion tracking issue. But what is actually happening is the buttstock is hitting against your character and not letting you maneuver the gun in the manner you want to. Who knows, maybe I just have short arms. And before you say get good, I have a decent amount of experience with Pavlov, and this just doesn't feel as smooth and refined as that game. Now at the same time, the variety in enemies and their overall AI is minimal. In 6 hours of gameplay, I was not killed by an enemy once. And possibly the most difficult part of the game is fighting against the physics for some of the puzzles. Or the other major nemesis, the save system. This game only saves when you complete a level. And when you get confused or stuck on a level, it can take over an hour to complete. I've had to replay levels over multiple times simply because I was done playing at that point, but I didn't make it to a checkpoint yet. Now at the same time, replaying a level can be pretty frustrating, but there are multiple ways to solve these puzzles or progress through the levels. I spent 20 minutes trying to get on top of a dumpster to grab a key when there was another one that you can easily access right around the corner. However, if you took the time to get both keys, you can get into other areas of the level that you would not see. Now this brings us into the overall length of the game. If you're gonna try and beeline through it, not take the time to admire the attention to detail, and you're just looking to absorb some storyline content, and if the physics play nice for you, well, you're going to move through this game pretty fast. Now at absolute minimum, I think it's going to take you roughly 3 hours, but more likely the average gameplay time is going to be something between 6 and 8. Again, some of that time is going to be padded out by replaying content, and not being able to get this hook to stay on the thing and finish the stupid physics puzzle that I can't stand because look at this thing and I'm going to lose my mind. Yes, I actually started yelling during this scene. Now I can't say if the save system was a deliberate choice to get people to replay content or possibly pad out the game. It's evident that the developers were worried people were going to complain that this is just a tech demo. I mean, this can be seen throughout the entire game, but I can clearly say that it is not. Even with its shortcomings, this is a full-fledged and exciting title. Now just to recap those shortcomings, this is an overall short game that is padded out. You will experience moments of pretty high frustration when dealing with some of the physics. The enemy AI doesn't present a real challenge, and there's no overall storyline to absorb and just sit back and take in. And the game is also only recommended to those who already have their VR legs. At the same time though, Stress Level 0 has managed to match the hype and deliver something truly amazing. This is now a benchmark for future VR games to measure themselves against. We've now learned how immersive VR environments truly can be. Now if we could only refine those elements a little bit, the future is going to be really bright. Guys, if you think you could stomach it, I absolutely recommend Boneworks. It is pretty darn amazing, and if you need more gameplay or you're looking for more combat and action, well then jump into that arena sandbox mode. It's there for you, you'll enjoy it. So it looks like 2019 is going out with a VR bang. It's been an amazing year, guys. These last few months have just been excellent game after excellent game, and I'm really excited for 2020. I would love to hear your feedback. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments. If you like this content, consider subscribing, and I will see you guys on next time.